Hello, everybody. Matt Larson here again on Big Sioux Media as we have more reports that we want to get out to everybody around the COVID-19 virus and things that are happening. And we've got another update from the schools. So, again, we've got Dr. Summer Schultz, the Dell Rapids Superintendent, joining us here this afternoon. Lots of updates, it sounds like, that you've got to tell us, so we won't hesitate and we'll jump right into that. Let's start with the lunch program that's been going on this week. Any updates on how that might go for next week or anything that you need to share with that?
Yes, again, we will send out the survey that should get to parents hopefully by this evening. It's kind of a work in progress. We want to make sure that for each day parents can choose if they want to do the grab and go from still both sites, the elementary and the middle school, and then the delivery. And so on the delivery, we just need to make sure students are there when we get there, and also just the names of students, so we know who we're going to run into when we get up to the house, along with which particular days. But we were able to get our application amended so that now students will get breakfast for the following day in their lunch as well. They don't have to ask for that. They just will get that.
All right. I know one of the things floating around, maybe not on the top of the list of super importance, but I know for the juniors and seniors and some other students, prom is a big question. Any update on what might happen there with that in a few weeks?
Yeah. I was a mom of a high school daughter, so I understand how much money and time goes into prom preparation. But if I had to, what I've been telling people is if I had to make a decision today to reschedule and what that date would be and what we would do, I would just be forced to cancel it. So what I've been asking is just for some time. We know that prom will not be April 4th. That is all I know at this point. What we're doing is we just really want to see where things go over the next few weeks. Our best case scenario is we can reschedule prom for a date in May, and we can have it as close to normal as possible for the kids. I don't foresee us having a large grand march or things like that, or bringing in maybe as many parents as usual for the post-prom, but we're hopeful that we can schedule something later. But we're just being told not to even look at rescheduling it until we can see where our state gets to in the next couple weeks. So it is off for April 4th with a hopeful reschedule for sometime in May. And in talking with Mr. Bunkers, we think worst case scenario, we know our after prom folks have put in an extraordinary amount of time and whatnot, that if prom itself has to go away completely, we would still figure out a way to get, the kids around those post-prom folks and get those prizes and things. But we're still hoping we can reschedule for March or for May.
All right. So we'll keep an eye on updates for that and kind of just play that like everything else. It's a fluid situation, so we'll see where that takes us here over the next few weeks. I know one of the items that you had emailed me about that you want to talk about was a critical infrastructure daycare haven type thing. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. We are being, in the metro area to Sioux Falls. We know we have a lot of folks who live in our community that commute to Sioux Falls, and they work in what's considered that critical care, that critical infrastructure employees. And what our state has been asking is for those of us who can, for those of us in the area, if we could consider having some sort of daycare or, day school option for the students that fall under, families in those categories. And so I have been working, there's a collaboration, a coalition group out of Sioux Falls that has Sanford and Rivera working together. They're jointly working on this along with some of the bigger players, the mayor of Sioux Falls, and then the school districts of T, Brandon, Harrisburg, Sioux Falls, and Dell Rapids. And we are trying to find ways that we can open up these centers for kids to go whose families work in those critical care areas. So what will happen in Dell Rapids is we will send out a survey tonight. And it might be as simple as one question that says, if you fall in this category and you are looking for daycare, contact me, because we need to know what kind of numbers we would have before we can commit to it. We have been able to secure our 2 directors at Haven. So Taylor and Lisa will be running this up. It will be run very similar to Haven. It would just be that unfortunately we can't take everyone. We could only take the kids whose parents fall into those areas. And that's, from healthcare, especially face-to-face healthcare workers, to law enforcement, some State Department type things. I will have a list of those on the announcement, then notification that comes out. Justin will include that at the city department too. And we really just need people who are possibly interested in that to reach out to me this weekend, because we would like to open the doors on Tuesday for that if we can. And so it's kind of a quick turnaround, but that we just think it's the way for us to help our state, help our community, and then it allows our staff to continue to do some of the things they do.
Okay, so a follow-up question to that. Yeah, you mentioned if the parents fall into this critical infrastructure, would that be for one parent, or would it be for all the parents in the household?
At least one, because we know there's just some dynamics, and what they're asking us to do is when they register or they reach out, they would just have to provide documentation that someone in the family works in one of those areas. Because we were working with Avera in Sanford, we will have very, very closely that guidelines that we need to follow as far as kids who can, any symptoms, things like that. As far as participation, there will be med students. We hope they're working on that part, that will be there when kids come for any high kind of traffic times, that will help just monitor temperatures, that sort of thing. So we'll be following the guidance of the best of the best, with our Sanford and Avera partners, and of course, we all of our staff that would work and do that, they are, it's optional for them. Some just aren't going to be comfortable in that situation, and we'll have legal waivers and things to sign, but we just want to be able to help out in this situation, because I think we all, have on our radar that this might be much longer than just next week.
And that leads me to another question. I know that Governor Onome, just recently said that, hey, be on our recommendation, we want to close schools next week. Have both the schools in town closed all next week. Are you hearing anything more than just past the next week? Maybe it's too early to answer that.
Yeah, it is a little too early. What I can tell you is I had a conference call today with Dr. Jones. He's the South Dakota Secretary of Education, and one thing as school officials, we said we appreciated at these early stages doing the short weeks at a time. We understood, I guess, why that happened, but for long-term planning, we just encouraged them to give us a little bit better or a little bit larger scope of the timing. It is just so hard to plan for things like state testing and graduation and all of that. So I'm hopeful that if another statement or recommendation comes out next week, it may be for more than just a week at a time, or if it is, maybe we're getting closer to nearing the end.
Sure. And so with that, we all know that this past week you guys have instituted the e-learning. You got kids, logging into the Google Classrooms, getting used to that before taking our scheduled spring break, and then starting next week they're going to be, jumping back into that Google Classrooms. What are some of the things that you're trying to do for those families that maybe not have the high-speed internet to be able to do those sorts of things?
Yeah, the biggest piece of that is just we need that information. My principals have been giving me updates. Today was the last day for the trial run for all 3 schools, and so we're that information on how many students in each class were able to connect, to use their school issued device or a home device, and who had adequate Wi-Fi connection at home. All that data is coming into me tonight. So we have a much better idea of how many students could benefit from some assistance with internet access. But really what I need more than anything is for people to let me know that. Let their teachers, let their principals know that we could benefit from some assistance here. There are people in the community who have said, hey, we would help, with a 3-month internet connectivity plan. There's just people out there that really want to help, and we at the school could maybe connect families to those people and help them out with that internet connection. So.
All right. Any other updates that have happened in the last couple of days? Again, I'm sure it's just constant hour by hour things that are happening right now.
It really is. I think we all know that we're supposed to be, in Rapid City today with our boys basketball team. Those tournaments have still been just considered temporarily suspended. We have not gotten any word that it would be anything different than that. All South Dakota High School Athletic Association spring sports have been put on hold till April 5th at this time. So, we just keep taking it one day at a time. But for this week, that's about where we're at.
All right. Well, again, thanks for joining us. And if there's anything that changes, definitely reach out and we'll do another video.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matt.
All right. Thank you.